Hi guys.
And my mommy.
This is my baby.
And you do it at home.
Yeah.
You do the dive.
Yeah.
You do it done. Get out, dive. I can hear red button. And
Okay. So, if you didn't understand that, that is subscribe to our channel and hit the like button and we'll get into it. This is a Q&A. So I asked on Instagram and on Twitter and Facebook what questions you would like me to answer. And my little helper here is going to probably make lots of noise, but my little helper here, okay? So the first question I have is, what is your favorite feature? Honestly, I don't really have one, but if I say anything, I think I like the shape of my lips. I think ultimately, yeah, is,
and I do.
yeah, is I think they're the perfect fullness, and honestly, like, I think is one of my best features. The next one is, what takes you the longest in your makeup routine? To be honest, the whole routine usually can take me up to like an hour. But I think the longest is doing my eyes, especially when doing an intricate look. However, if I do something simple like I did today, the longest is doing like my base. So foundation,
And these are my mommy.
concealer, and powder. Next question is, what part of a makeup routine do you think a beginner should master? The one thing that I think a beginner should master is actually two different things. One is mastering how to actually color match your foundation to your skin tone. That one is one I still struggle with and is definitely a work in progress, and it is the one thing that most people struggle with the most. But honestly, once you get the hang of it, I think you will be set. Like, that is great. The other thing I think is blending your eyeshadow, and that is because once you master that, you can basically do any look that you want. So blending takes time. It is not something just kind of willy-nilly that you just slap something in. It's one of the things that once I actually learned how to do it was a game changer for me. And the next question is, what is your favorite high-end makeup item? It's a really tough one, but right now I'd have to say my new Natasha Denona Gold palette, and it's really not technically high-end, it's technically luxury, but that is my favorite. The next one is, what is your favorite drugstore makeup item that you own? Right now I am loving the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Micro Brow Pencil. Honestly, it has blown me away. What is my favorite part of my makeup routine? The end result. Favorite is seeing the whole look come together. So ultimately, the end is my favorite part in my routine. However, if I had to pick like what part I love doing the most is when I do highlight. Do I want to go to beauty school? I have thought about this, honestly, and I've yes and no'd it a couple of times, and no is finally what I've decided is no, I don't want to, but I have thought about doing it quite a few times. Most of the stuff that I needed to learn, I've been able to learn via YouTube and tutorials and Instagram and all that stuff. So I've learned everything that I feel I've needed to learn, so I don't feel I need to go to school to learn anymore. If you could only use one bag of makeup forever, what would you pack? My first question is, how big is the bag? And can I have multiples of one item? But to be honest, if I had to choose for foundation, it would be the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. I love that. Concealer is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Bronzer, I'm really loving the new Wet n Wild bronzers. Blush, I would want like a blush palette. So I would have the Morphe 8W one that I really love and using. Highlight would be the Nikki Tutorials and Maybelline Master Chrome highlight. For eyes, like I said, it all depends on what size this bag is, because if it's a big bag, I could totally pick a bunch. But if anything, it would more than likely be my Natasha Denona Gold palette or my original Jaclyn Hill palette. Mascara would be my Wander Beauty mascara unlashed. And for eyebrows, it would be the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow. And for lips would be Maybelline's Baddest Beige. And then for setting spray would be Urban Decay All Nighter. So if I had to pick one of like almost every category, that's where I'm at. How long does it take you to do your makeup? About 45 minutes to an hour. But I also have a 3-year-old who constantly wants mommy or is asking questions or trying to do her makeup with me. So if I could eliminate that portion of time, I'd probably say about 20 minutes to a half an hour. What is my favorite kind of makeup look? Honestly, is my super simple one. What do I think the hardest part of doing your makeup is? The hardest part for me is blending out my bronzer / contour. I don't do like a super sculpted, but sometimes I do. But like that, I think is the hardest part for me, because sometimes no matter if I put powder on something, sometimes it's just not working, and it takes me a while to get it to blend and be seamless. Like that is one of my biggest hindrances. How did I learn to apply makeup? So I've started playing around with makeup when I was in the 8th grade, I think, something like that. And I started with black eyeliner. That was all the rage when I was starting out. So it was literally just taking black eyeliner and putting it in your waterline. That's how I started out with makeup. And I didn't really truly learn until about 2016, I think. And so that's, but 2.5 years ago, like the end of 2016, October 2016 is when I really got into learning how to use all the products. I didn't really learn until recently. And by that time, I had just turned 26. Did I always want to share my love of makeup? Not in the beginning. And it's not to say that like I was wanting to be greedy or anything like that. It's just, I was still learning. So ultimately, like, it wasn't ever a part of my plan. When I started getting into and doing more makeup stuff, hadn't originally been my plan. But once I realized that I wanted to do it, yes, it became my ultimate goal. When did I first fall in love with makeup? I would have to say it was in 2012. No, yes, 2012, 2013. I got my first Urban Decay Naked palette and I fell in love with it. Didn't know how to use it, but I fell in love with it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So yeah, that was ultimately what brought me to wanting it. And I would buy makeup. I'd get it all the time. But still, I never knew what to do with it. Like, I'd buy it, but ultimately it kind of just sat in a drawer until it, my next special occasion showed up, like a wedding I was going to, or, a event that I was going to. Like, until then, like, ultimately no, that's not true. Let's rewind the date on that one. 2009. I'll say 2009, but ultimately when I got the Naked palette was when I started hoarding makeup. Yeah, that's the right answer. 2012 is when I started hoarding makeup. 2012, 2013 is when I started hoarding makeup. But I have loved makeup for a really long time. I've just ultimately have never known what to do with it. So like I would get some for Christmas and I'd only use a select few items because I didn't know what to do with everything else. But I've always had a slight love for makeup. But again, like I said, from junior high to like all the way through high school, for me it was like black eyeliner, mascara, and maybe a shimmering eyeshadow, but usually that wasn't even the case. So I didn't fully get to it until after I was out of high school, which I graduated in 2009. So goes along that line. But ultimately once I realized how much I loved makeup was in about 2012, 2013 when I got my hands on the first original Urban Decay Naked palette. How do you do your makeup with a toddler? Okay, so this is a hard one because she is so into it. Like, she loves makeup. So as soon as I start, when she's awake and I'm going in, she's in there like, mommy, me too, mommy, me too. She actually has her own bin, which is right here. And I gave that to her. And it's all of my like cheaper stuff that I really don't care that she gets into, not like my more expensive stuff. But it's just blush and eyeshadow. And typically if she is being annoying, persistent, I will get YouTube Kids on my phone and kind of send her away to go watch that, or I'll put on her favorite show to kind of give me time, especially if I'm in a hurry. Like, that's the biggest problem is if I'm in a hurry and we've got to go somewhere and I'm doing my makeup, I need her as distracted as possible. But if I'm not in a hurry and I'm just kind of lazing around the day and I just am doing my makeup because I want to, sometimes I'll let her come in and I'll do her makeup, and that satisfies her enough to leave me alone to finish whatever it is I'm doing. So it's kind of it is a gamble. There's days where she won't leave me alone, so this is when my days take 30 to 45 to an hour, sometimes longer, because I have her distracting me every which way. Then I can sometimes get her distracted with something else, and those are great days. So I usually put on, or give her Kindle so that she can play her games and stuff like that. So ultimately that's what it comes down to, is I find the proper distractions for her that are going to either get her out of my hair, or I do her makeup and make her happy, and that'll get her away so that I can continue finishing in a timely manner. Looking back, what is my biggest fail? I think ultimately my biggest fail is not taking care of my skin sooner. I used to be one of those girls that would go out in the sun, go to the swimming pool, go to the beach. I love the beach. I miss the beach. And I wouldn't put sunscreen on at all because I tanned, and in my head I tan. I don't need a sunscreen. There's no need for it. I don't burn. What the hell's the point? But ultimately, that is my biggest regret / fail, is I never used sunscreen. I didn't take care of my skin. I didn't wash my face after taking off all my makeup. I didn't, use moisturizers, anything like moisturizers, serums, oils, like none of that. So I didn't even know, like, technically that they existed. Like, that was something. Like, I would see commercials for like Olay and Neutrogena, but in my mind that was for old people. That wasn't for someone like me. But as I started this journey, I realized, no, that is for me. I should have started this when I was like 14 or younger, like created a habit early on. But again, this is something that my mom didn't teach me, but also it was never really taught to her. So like it wasn't that she was neglecting me to be like, oh no, she just doesn't teach me that. It was never really taught to her, so she really didn't know that that was something to be really important. So for me, I'm going to teach my daughter, obviously, that that's important and start early for her. So for me, that's my biggest fail, is not having a proper skincare routine early on, like using a moisturizer, wearing sunscreen, you know, using serums and oils and all the things that your skin truly needs. I didn't know, so I never cared. I actually posted a picture on Instagram for like the 10-year challenge. Like, you can really see the difference in 10 years. Not just that I've aged, because obviously I'm not 19 anymore, or I was 18. So I'm not 18 anymore. I'm 28. I will be 29 this year. So like, I've obviously aged. However, you can see that I've changed in that I take care of myself now. Like, I wasn't an Oompa Loompa, but I was very tan. Like, I would tan very easily. Like, I'm not that tan anymore. I am pale as all get out. And I prefer it that way, ultimately, just because I know I'm taking better care of my skin. I don't feel the need. Do I still change a little color when I go out in the sun, even with sunscreen? Of course I do. Like, my skin has color to it, but ultimately I don't tan like I did before. I actually now burn a little bit more easily, but this is the change that my body has gone through in 10 years. So I hope you enjoyed getting to having this little conversation. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell if you really want to know when I upload, because since I don't do it all the time, you might want to. Like this video, give it a big thumbs up, as my baby would say. And I